Hello again. In this video I'm gonna make some comments about the word that, because I've seen that you have some problems translating it into Danish sometimes. So in this video I'll give you some examples, because that translates into several Danish words. So here I've written 4 phrases. That is a nice coat. Det er en flot frakke. I like that you've bought a new coat. Jeg kan godt lide, at du har købt en ny jakke. I've just seen a movie that I would like to recommend. Jeg har lige set en film, som jeg gerne vil anbefale. I've just seen a movie that could change the world. Jeg har lige set en film, som eller der kan ændre verden. If you cannot tell the difference in between these words, I'll explain it now. In the first case, that functions more as a demonstrative pronoun. So if you want to emphasize something, so for instance, I really like that hat instead of I really like the hat. I really like that hat. In Danish, you have to use the article, or like the demonstrative pronoun, den, and you have to use den because it's en hat. So it is a utrum noun. Jeg kan godt lide den hat. If you were to say I really like that table, then you have to say jeg kan godt lide det bord, because bord is a neutrum noun. So just that translates into 2 different words here, depending on the gender of the noun. Then we have another example. In this case, you have to be aware if it is a subordinate clause. I like that you've bought new shoes. Jeg kan godt lide, at du har købt nye sko. I love that your favorite film is Gladiator. Jeg elsker, at din yndlingsfilm er Gladiator. I hope that you will come to my wedding. Jeg håber på, at du vil komme til mit bryllup. So in all these cases, it is because we have the main clause. So for instance, jeg elsker. But what do you love? Hvad elsker du? I love that your favorite movie is Gladiator. If this is the structure of the phrase, so the subordinate phrase is the object, then you have to use at as a conjunction. And this also translates that in English. Okay, in the last example, I've written a phrase that is not direct. The subordinate clause is here not the direct object, because there is a preposition that connects the verb with the subordinate clause, but it's just to illustrate that the same thing happens. It doesn't matter if it's a direct object or if it's more like a prepositional object. It's still at that you have to use. Okay, next one. Here, that is translates into a relative clause. So I have just seen a film that you will love. Jeg har lige set en film, som du vil elske. I buy many bananas that my monkey eat. Jeg køber mange bananer, som min abe spiser. So in this case, we have a relative clause that adds something to. What is a relative clause? A relative clause is something that adds information to the phrase that it is connected to. So in this case, I have just seen a film. Okay, so now this relative clause adds something to the word film. Som du vil elske, that you will love. So some here is not the subject, because you can see here, du vil elske, du is the subject. And what will you love? You will love the movie. But the movie here is in the subordinate phrase som, because som refers back to the movie. Therefore, som is the object of this phrase. Du vil elske. What will you love? You will love this movie. And som is the movie. So here that translates into som. Jeg har lige set en film, som du vil elske. And the last example is the same thing is happening. We have a relative clause, but in this case it is not the object, it is the subject. I like movies that are filled with action. Jeg kan godt lide film, som eller der er fyldt med action. I have a table that is 100 years old. Jeg har et bord, som der er 100 år gammelt. So again, the same thing is happening. This is referring back to the film. But this time, this word is the subject in the new subordinate phrase in the subordinate clause, the relative clause. So what is filled with action? The movie, but the movie is here the subject. Som er fyldt med action, or der er fyldt med action. In Danish, we use both of these words when it is the subject in the subordinate clause, in the relative clause. So that can sometimes confuse you a bit, because you can only use some when it's the object, but you can choose yourself if you would like to use some or der when it's the subject of the relative clause. If you are writing several relative clauses in a row, it is normal that you change in between the two simply to make the phrase a bit more alive, so you're not repeating the same pronoun over and over again. Okay, I think that was it. I hope that you now understand the difference. Otherwise, let me know in the comment section. That's how they say on YouTube.